Hey folks, Mike Naso from IPR365.com taking a look at the Atlantic Basin. We do have one system, which is Tropical Storm Hermine, which has moved inland and begun to weaken here in northeastern Mexico. It's a very fast developer, 24 hours or less, cranking up, getting even close to hurricane strength. That moisture now moving on up through northeast Mexico towards Texas. We have a pretty good blow up near Andros Island in South Florida, but not doing much. That's in association with this upper level low in here, which is speeding along towards the west, and behind that is the remnant of Tropical Storm Gaston, which, even though chances over the next 48 hours have decreased from about 70% to 50%, it is not out of the realm of possibility this can't stay weak until Jamaica or the Western Caribbean and come back in a big way, maybe even to a hurricane. So we're going to watch that very carefully, but you could see everything there in motion the last few hours. Now let's take a look at the whole hurricane season we've seen thus far, and you can see we've had a lot of activity off Africa, including Gaston, and if Gaston doesn't do anything, it'll come back. And we've also had a lot of activity here in the western Gulf of Mexico, where we currently see Tropical Storm Hermine. Now as of 10 p.m., Hermine was at 25.5 north, 97.5 west, winds were 60, they had been up to 65, gusting to 70, moving north-northwest at 13, 991 millibars, and you can see it's going to move inland, become a depression tomorrow morning, and then continue to plow straight towards its remnant, straight towards Missouri and Iowa. But it could be a little bit further north and east. It could be a little bit further to the west. We're going to have to wait and see on that. We do still have those tropical storm warnings out from the northeastern Mexican coast on up towards Baffin Bay, Texas, just in case those tropical storm force winds are found in some of those bands. You can see now that it's moved inland, we don't have to worry about the model guidance other than they give a general indication that this is going to pull north and then northeast up into the Midwest of the United States. There's the satellite. You can see Hermine was spinning up. It is starting to get a little weak on its western side as expected as it moves inland. Here's an interesting perspective from the radar. There's the eye of the tropical storm. You can see the eye wall was building right there, and it actually sped a little bit further west and a little bit faster than was thought. Had it not done that, I think Hermine would have become a hurricane and would have been just as fast a developer as Umberto was 3 years ago. And you can see there's another very good look at it. And again, here's the longer range radar to give you a perspective of what a tiny little system this is. But still, heavy rainfall heading towards Brownsville right now, and even some good bands up towards Corpus and areas further to the north dealing with the rainfall of Hermine. So we're going to watch this very carefully. Now, as we switch maps from Hermine to Gaston, you can see Gaston's remnants are still expected to move pretty much west to west-northwest, west-southwest, and the consensus model is like that, towards Jamaica and the western Caribbean Sea, and if it keeps the current motion 5, 6, 7 days out, it's going to end up in Belize and the Bay of Campeche, close to where Hermine is now. However, it may eventually start to gain a little latitude, but then again it might not. It may get shoved in the western Caribbean, and even if it takes a track like GFDL showing here, it could still become a hurricane down the road, even if it ended up having such a strong high-pressure ridge that it went straight into Central America. Then again, the H-Wharf brings it a little bit further north towards the Straits of Florida. So there is that little cone of uncertainty there to where it could be as far north as this, it could be as far south as that, somewhere in the middle, just south of the Big Islands towards Jamaica and the Western Caribbean could be what we're dealing with. The main problem with the system has been the dry air and the easterly shear. You can see the precipitable water here in green is favorable around it, but you can see a lot of dry air in here, and we have that high pressure pushing it straight west, and that's causing easterly shear. And so until it moves into a more wet environment, a more moist environment for development, we're not going to have to deal with Gaston anymore. You can see we did have 99L that has since ceased to exist. We do have a little wave out here looking interesting, but a big one moving off. Almost all models unanimously call for another Cape Verde storm, probably a Cape Verde hurricane. That would be Hurricane Igor when it develops. And some of the models like the GFS actually show two systems, which would be Igor and Julia, the new incarnations of Ivan and Jean. So we're going to watch that very carefully. I'm Mike Naso from IPR. That's the latest on Hermine as well as the remnants of Gaston. Stay tuned to IPR365.com.